Hi, this is Steven from Just Got Played, and today I'm going to give you my thoughts on Thrones of Valeria, a cutthroat trick-taking game with card powers and shifting allegiances. This is from Daily Magic Games, so thanks to the publisher for sending me this copy for review. First, let's go down to the table. I'll tell you basically how the game is played, and then we'll come back and I'll give you my thoughts. Thrones of Valeria is a trick-taking game that is played over 2 rounds. A round ends when one player doesn't have any cards left. A player may have more or less cards than another player, and you'll see how that happens. And that is because every time you play a card, you activate a special ability. Like any other trick-taking game, when you lead a suit, everybody else has to follow suit, unless they can't, in which case they can play another card, or they can play one of these joker cards, which is sort of like a trump. If you pay them, they get elevated above everything else. You can see here that there are these different houses, and these correspond to the different suits in the game. Basically, what this tells you, this is how much money you get when you win a trick using a card of that house. So, just to show you in this 3-player game how the game is played, if I look here, I can see, well, red is worth the most currently, and I do have the 9, which is the highest. So maybe I will just play the 9 red. Now, a couple things happen here. So one thing is, that's the matriarch. So it says move one house up 2 spaces and move the others down 1 space each. So I can look at this and say, you know what, I'm probably going to win some yellows since I have the 8 and 7, or I might. So let's move that up 2 spaces. All right, good. Maybe that will benefit me on a future turn. Now, I've got a couple other players here, so this player has to follow suit if they can. So they have the red 2. So what does the 2 do? The 2 is the thief. Take 2 silver from an opponent. So maybe they look over here at this opponent and say, all right, look, I'm going to take 2 silver. All right, and then this player plays the 1 red, which is not great. What does the 1 red do? Well, that says move 1 house to the lowest standing and move others up. So now what they can do is they can take this, move it all the way down, and hooray, I won that trick. These cards don't matter anymore. I don't need to keep these. But because I won that with a red, I actually have to pay 3. So I am out money there. So if you can see at the beginning of that, there was 4 here, 4 here, 4 here, and now there's 6, 2, and 1. So even though I won the trick, I am doing worse at the game. All right, so, let's try again. Hey, look, that's up at the top, and I have that, right? So I'm going to play the 8. Why? Well, the 8 lets me do something special. The 8 lets me lock or unlock a house standing. So I'm going to lock that, which means now nobody else can play the assassin or whatever and move it. Let's see, what do they play? All right, they play the 3. What does the 3 do? The 3 says gain 3 silver from the supply. All right, so we're going to take 3 money and put it there. And then what does this player do? They're going to play that. All right, so what does that do? If you look at these, it says for the second one, you can pay 2 money for the trickster to elevate it above everything else. So essentially, they can pay 2 to win this trick. And every time you win with a jester, it says down here, you actually get 5 money. So they paid 2, but they get 5 money. All right, so essentially you just keep going on and doing that. Again, when somebody's out of cards, then that's the end of that round. And then you do another round, and then you see who has the most money, and that's who wins the game. All right, now let me tell you what I like and dislike about Thrones of Valeria. And I'll go ahead and start with my likes. So what I like about Thrones of Valeria is it's a trick-taking game, right? So if you like trick-taking games, then maybe you should check this one out. I like trick-taking games. If you've got a short card game that's a trick-taking game, that's all you got to say. I'm ready to try it out. I grew up playing them, and so I like playing them. This has an interesting spin on trick-taking games, and I found several games that try to do something innovative with trick-taking and put a spin on it, and they don't work. But I feel like it works here. Having the card powers, once you sort of figure out what they are, being able to play them and maybe winning the game even without winning tricks is an interesting thing. I feel like it kind of works here. Another nice thing about it that I like is that it doesn't have bidding. Now, don't get me wrong, I actually really like bidding in trick-taking games, but it's refreshing to have a trick-taking game that doesn't have bidding. And for a couple of reasons. One of those is that it's a little bit easier to teach. And then that downtime where you're collecting the bids and everybody's thinking about what they're bidding, that's gone in this game. Sure, you might have people looking at their hand trying to decide what card to lead or whatever, but you're gonna have that in any trick-taking game, I think. So, those are the things I like about the game. So what are the things that I dislike about the game? Well, really, there's just one thing, and that is it's a trick-taking game. So you say, hey, Steven, didn't you just say that's what you like about the game? Well, unfortunately, the bar is high when you're making a trick-taking game, right? If you've got a deck of cards, you can play a trick-taking game, probably one you grew up with, right? So you've got spades, hearts. My personal favorite is Oh Hell. So, you're asking people to buy a game when they probably could just play a really good trick-taking game with a deck of cards they already have in their house. And then, if you're talking about, okay, well, let's set those aside and talk about box games that, have some interesting spin on trick-taking. Well, that's still a pretty crowded space. I have Skull King, which is a bit of a spin on Oh Hell, that I said that I like. So I like Skull King a lot. I have Indulgence, which encourages you to shoot the moon, essentially. I have the Crew games, which is, cooperative trick-taking, which is interesting. So Thrones of Valeria, is it a good game? Yeah, I enjoyed playing it. If you like trick-taking games, you should give it a shot. You might like it too. Am I going to pull it out to play it when I have all those other options? Probably not. So really, I guess it just depends on how often you play trick-taking games, who you're playing them with, whether you think this particular spin on it will work for your group. But for me, it's probably just going to have a hard time hitting the table. So good game, but probably not going to keep it. So there you go. That is my likes and dislikes on Thrones of Valeria. If you have any questions about the game, you can look in the description of the video below. There's a link to our Discord channel. You can come there and chat with all of us on the crew, or you can put a comment in the YouTube video as well if you want to comment there. But also like, share, and subscribe. Always helps us out. We do appreciate it when you do that. But yeah, until the next time, thanks for joining me.